Hello YouTube, this is Thongger and long time no see. Today I will be bringing you another Rome Total War online commentary video where I will be playing a 6-player free-for-all with players that I have already listed over there in the credit screen. So this is my army. I have a pretty heavy infantry based Carthaginian army supported by Numidian Jav Cav and Slingers and Sacred Band Cav, and this is Lucius of the LebensKrieger clan, and he has brought along that army, and this is HostileSword. That is his army as well. He's marching on David, whose army is this huge mob of Egyptian Pharaoh's Guardsmen and chariots. And this is Terian, who is camping in a little corner with this huge army as well. And this is KenoSen of the LebensKrieger clan. He has brought along this little army. I can't remember what upgrades they have, but anyway, the battle kicks off with me marching on Lucius. I'm squaring off with his army, and I'm going to use my superior numbers to try and outflank his super heavily upgraded Spartans who have the experience upgrade as well. As you see there, Lucius makes the mistake of charging his cav through his own Spartans, and they die, and they charge in the fronts of my sacred band, and I lower my pikes and they die as well. And Lucius, he kind of recklessly charges his Spartans into the front ranks of my sacred band, but they are still extremely heavily upgraded, and they're going to give my sacred band a real beating over here. So anyway, I'm trying to wrap around my opponent using my superior numbers, and I try to launch a quick cavalry strike in my opponent's rear. This results in extremely heavy losses for my cav, even though the Spartans have their backs turned. How this worked, I don't know how, but I guess they're just supermen like that. So I lost a ridiculous amount of my elite sacred band cav there, and so I pull my cav back, and I'm just gonna try and use the weight of my sacred band hoplites to steamroll these guys from behind. The Spartans are already taking heavy casualties from that frontal assault on my front lines. Anyway, I caught my opponent's Greek cav there and slaughtered them. And here I try to launch another rear cavalry strike, but it doesn't really have that much impact on my opponent, and it just leaves me with a lot of sacred band cav dying. So here I'm steamrolling over my opponent's Spartans. I'm just squashing them here from behind. You can and here I'm just mopping up my opponent's heavy peltasts and Cretan archers, and here the Spartans being slaughtered from behind. They're completely surrounded, and I'm sure this is how a Spartan would like to go. Is a good fight and a good death. So anyway, HostileSword has launched his attack against David20088, who is the Egyptian player. He's launched a mixed cavalry infantry assault on David's chariots, and he successfully managed to win that little skirmish. Although the infantry fight is coming up, and HostileSword is grossly outnumbered by David's huge mob of Pharaoh's Guardsmen. And here HostileSword launches his cav in an all-out charge on his right flank against David's horsemen, and his lightly armed Nile cav don't stand a chance against his slightly upgraded Praetorian and Legionary cav. So HostileSword managed to get his javelin volleys off, and now he's crashing into the front lines. His left flank is really exposed, and then in a bit of trouble now as a mob of chariots and Pharaoh's Guardsmen swarms them from all sides, and they're getting completely surrounded and penned in here. Yep, it's pretty mad over here, and HostileSword is really grossly outnumbered, but his men have upgrades and they're holding their ground. HostileSword is having more success on David's right flank, where his urbans have managed to get around the Pharaoh's Guardsmen, and the Pharaoh's Guardsmen with no upgrades aren't going to stand a chance. And here HostileSword launches a rear cavalry strike into the David center, and the Egyptian center collapses, and he manages to kill his general as well. So HostileSword has won on his right, and now he's turning his forces to face the remainder of the Egyptian army in a pitched battle. And in a straight up fight, the Egyptians don't really stand a chance, especially when it's this chaotic, and the urbans can use their heavy armor, shields and swords to get in close and personal against these lightly armored Pharaoh's Guardsmen. So anyway, here is KenoSen, and Lucius kind of kamikazed his last remaining unit of Spartans into the front line of the Romans, which used up a lot of their javelins, which suits me just fine because Oh yeah, and that's Lucius's general getting run over by his fellow clanmate. I think it's a clan anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. And here, HostileSword's just mopping up the Egyptian army. Nothing much is going on, apart from a sporadic skirmish here and there, but HostileSword has lost quite a number of his troops, and he's gonna need every soldier he can get in the up-and-coming fights. Alrighty, so I'm just skirmishing with KenoSen right now. We're trading missile fire, and my slingers vastly outnumber his arch auxiliary, so his guys don't stand much of a chance. And I'm peppering his front line with slingshots as well, and his lightly armored early legionnaires are taking a lot of casualties, so I forced them into testudo formation. And KenoSen puts his town watch in front, and I'm gonna charge my sacred band hoplites forward in a phalanx charge formation or fashion before they can come off testudo to limit the damage I receive for peeler fire. So I phalanx charge in a KenoSen's front line, and his town watch disintegrate before my sacred band hoplites. And his legionnaires are rapidly trying to reform. A few of them get some javelins off, but it's not enough to stop my sacred band in their tracks, and now my guys are pummeling them with their spears. And I'm getting my cav around as well, because my opponent has like virtually no cav support and no double line to protect his vulnerable infantry. So I launch a cavalry strike here and obliterate his center. And yeah, so KenoSen doesn't stand much of a chance. His guys are getting mauled from the front and squashed from behind. And here come my cav, trampling these early legionnaires into the dust. They stand absolutely no chance against my super heavily upgraded sacred band hoplites. And here, oddly enough, they're forming a testudo, and they're just gonna get speared and slaughtered and massacred and messily maimed and killed. Yep. So I probably shouldn't be wasting time on this footage, but I just found it quite entertaining, seeing all those legionnaires get mowed down. So anyway, KenoSen, he's pulling what's left of his troops into the forest, where they will hide like little chickens before the might of Carthage. And anyway, Terian, this whole time, he's just been camping in his corner, sitting, waiting, and watching, while the rest of us have been killed, and slaughtered each other without mercy. So this is what is left of HostileSword's army, and we decided to cooperate to take out Terian, the little corner camper there. So I'm gonna approach from the left side, and HostileSword is gonna approach on the right, and we're gonna trap Terian and squash him between the might of our two armies. So here's some skirmishing going on in the forest. I'm just running down what is left of KenoSen's army, although his general unit stays alive, and this is gonna be a major pain in the rear for me for the entire game, because he's just gonna pick at my army like some vultures. So seeing his general just sort of sitting here, I get some slingers to pop some shots off at them, and they come charging in, and my slingers just manage to get behind the sacred band in time, and two of my slingers are getting left behind, so I'm gonna protect them with my cav. Almost made that little micro error, and I can't afford to be losing troops on stupid micro mistakes right now. Sorry. Yeah, so there Terian, he's pulling 2 cataphracts out of the wood, so now he has 4 cataphracts assembled before him. Well, before me actually, and I'm receiving some missile fire, so I'm gonna try and quickly get my troops in a position. Can't afford to lose any precious troops to missile fire here. But I'm not overly worried, because my guys are heavily upgraded and they have the large shields. And here Terian's missile troops there, I'm gonna take a pasting from my guys, and I launched my Numidian Jav Cav out to strike at these archers. They got a bit ahead of their lines. So look how close they get to the pikes. Both of them rout, although I don't take any casualties, and they come back later. So here HostileSword is set up on this hill on the right, on my right, and Terian's left flank, and he's gonna flame Terian's left flank. Right, I'm gonna send my Jav Cav out again to harass Terian's pikes and his archer line, and they're taking some Jav fire there. Kill a few men, but not really worth the missiles. So anyway, here you can see Terian, he's launching his general out, and he dies on his own pikes, so that's a lesson to you. Never charge your cav through your pike lines. And you can see how many cataphracts he lost there. That's a ridiculous amount of cataphracts to be losing to your own troops and not really killing anything. So that's his general. Yeah, which is a lucky break for both me and HostileSword. So stay tuned for part 2, and this will continue the epic battle